Hi, my name is Chimwemwe Undi. I'm a poet living here on Treaty 1. I'm going to be reading a poem of mine that appeared in issue 20 of Poetry is Dead magazine, the last issue. And the poem is titled Grunthal Manitoba 2019, and it's a duplex. A beautiful country, so full of breath, the sky is wide open as a howling throat. My throat is wide open as a prairie sky, as blue, as hungry to ungive what's been taken. You can't give back what has been taken. Unname the place named what it already is. Rename a place that was already named, in language with altitude and implication. This language is altitude and implication, good for making art and telling lies. Good for making art on telling lies, for making promises it meant to keep. Made promises we had no means to keep, renamed the place already named. Renamed the place already named, 64 clicks northeast of nothing. 64 clicks northeast of nothing, 95 clicks south of nothing, 15 miles southwest of nothing. A beautiful country because you still breathe. Thanks. I'm going to be reading a poem of mine that appears in the Work Matters issue of Prairie Fire magazine. The poem I'm reading is called Rising Signs. It's a golden shovel, which means that the last word of each line forms a phrase. In this case, the phrase is a lyric from John K. Samson. This crop withstood the months of snow, scavengers and blight, turned every year towards a tiny lengthening of light, found a way to rise. And thus this poem is after John K. Samson. Rising Signs. I move toward renaming this the other season. Let's call this light our holy crop, sprung up after the fallow stretch, after we withstood and wandered, whined, rapped against the sharp part of the curve, dislodged salt and those reluctant months, the year we thought we would not see the other end of, and so our reward, this bright harvest, lumen echoing the snow. Peep a curved and dripping beak and know us scavengers curled over the end of day. Here, my dark hand, your short glass, the fire inside brown as blight. Like earth or an ankle, we turned, became a hopeful throng of bodies again. Every summer is like this. The hot part of the year carries the rest of it, buckles, moves towards its own meaning, its own kind of heavy. A collapse long anticipated can feel like relief, a tiny death. We can feel the winter lengthening to swallow us, her arms widening, her mouthful of song wider than the sky, as blue with light. And after, the seasons lost and found, forgotten herds, once yellow mitts, ensure a myriad of unchanged things. The city wanders in its way. The river promises to rise. I'm going to be reading a poem of mine that appeared in Prairie Fire magazine's Work Matters issue. The poem is titled Vote Open, and it's after John K. Samson. The second best thing to do in Winnipeg is whine about being here. The best is to eat maple taffy at Festival, and then, briefly sedulous, to lean into that last in Gaelic syllable even though you just say lash. Proximity is ID, named after nearbys and nevermores, the not quite center of the thing, the west but tame and reluctantly, the least of whatever counts and most of what is uncountable. Named for the water, more its grit than gravitas, than unmade anything by dint of our own sprawl. The alternate physics of mid-sized towns is everyone is everywhere, and everyone is everyone who also goes to art shows and calls their mother too much. When, as you know, Sean Diddy Combs changed his name to Brother Love and then did not, I thought, I too have felt August in my body, like the town empties, reassembles slightly left of itself, sweeter smelling for it. Winter expands and it starts at the ankles, subjects inhabitants to too long a Gilead stretch. I too have misnamed myself the center of something. All this middle part is aching and watching and growing old. The fourth season is construction. That's the whole joke. Thank you.